In 1925, Oscar Micheaux released the film Body and Soul. Body and Soul is significant because it gave the actor Paul Robeson his first starring role in a movie. In the film, Robeson delivers a great performance as the deceitful preacher Isaiah T. Jenkins. Body and Soul is largely set in the fictional town of Tatesville, Georgia. But about halfway through the film, the action shifts to Atlanta. After having been raped by the Reverend Jenkins, the young Isabel flees from Tatesville to Atlanta, hoping for a fresh start. Micheaux introduces us to Atlanta by showing some images of downtown buildings. Here's the old terminal station where the Richard B. Russell building now stands. And Micheaux shows some images of other downtown buildings as well. Micheaux then descends to street level and shows some images of Decatur Street. Professor Dana White at Emory told me that he thinks this shot was taken where the Georgia State corridor now is, looking from west to east. So perhaps this is where that shot was taken from. It's not totally clear whether the images of Decatur Street and Body and Soul were actually shot on Decatur Street. It's certainly possible that these scenes were shot in some other section of some other town. So take, for instance, this image. In the background you see RD Avenue, perhaps indicating 3rd Avenue. There is no 3rd Avenue in downtown Atlanta, but there is in New York City where Micheaux's production offices were based. But I did find this piece of graffiti on the ramp heading into Decatur Street, perhaps a clue telling me that in fact the film was shot on Decatur Street. The vision of Atlanta in Body and Soul is a rather grim one. After several months, Isabel is destitute, living off 3-cent meatball sandwiches, which to my eyes actually don't look too bad. We then see Isabel wandering around the back alleys of Decatur Street in a malnourished haze. This cuts against the grain of the typical representation of cities in 1920s American silent films. Take, for instance, this sequence from Sunrise, the great 1927 film by F.W. Murnau, in which an adulteress tempts her lover to come to the city where everything is lights and action and fun and music. Now, Decatur Street was a fun and exciting place in the 1920s. It was the hub of black working class life and entertainment, and many great music luminaries like Thomas Dorsey and Ma Rainey got their start on Decatur Street, often playing at the 81 Theater. But Decatur Street was a rowdy and sometimes dangerous place in the 1920s. Domestic worker Alice Adams recalled, "It was just a rough place, and we just didn't hang out over there. My people told me when I came to Atlanta, stay off Decatur Street, and I did just that. It wasn't no place for me." So how does Decatur Street of the 1920s compare to Decatur Street of the 21st century? You could still get a meatball sandwich, although probably not for 3 cents. But the street probably isn't the rowdy, rough, fun, exciting place it was in the 1920s, largely because of the efforts of Georgia State University, helping rejuvenate the Decatur Street corridor. But if you look hard enough, you can find some of those dark and foreboding corners that Micheaux found back in 1925.